The LessWrong post, first one was priors as mathematical objects. And I pulled out nothing in this post because I didn't understand it.
Great. I was just going to be like, all right, someone explain this to me.
Oh, okay. Did any of us understand this post?
The important thing that he's getting at, and like, this is one of his, I think, least well communicated posts. And it's not just him flexing how well like he understands all this stuff. It's, I don't know. I mean, and there's I think maybe necessary math for the point that he's making. But my understanding is that the point that he's making is that like a prior probability isn't just like your initial guess based on nothing. It's your running back to that urn example.
Yeah, there were 3 urns, or there were 3 cases rather. One where the urn contains 5 red balls and 5 white balls. The second one would be a random number generator, is deciding which balls are going to be red or white at a certain probability. And then case 3 was a monkey throwing balls into the urn at random.
Right. So if you hand me an urn and ask me before I draw a ball out what I think the color will be with what probability, without telling me which urn it is, I guess I would say roughly 50% just because I have no idea. Mm-hmm. But that's not really a prior. That's like a complete just guess, mm-hmm. right? And then if you told me which urn it was, then I could say, okay, I'm guessing it's this. And then he says I could write a quick Python program that gives me the actual estimates.
Yeah, well, the first one had 5 red and 5 white. So he was saying that in the first round of guessing, if you asked me to guess whether the ball that gets pulled out is going to be red or white, regardless of any of those cases, because they're all about 50-50, you would say 50%. Then when you start pulling balls out, then you have to update each time, because if it were case 1, for example, every red ball that gets drawn makes it less likely that the future balls will be red, because there's now fewer red balls left in the urn, and there's only 5 red and 5 white.
And the next one is Laplace's law of succession, which you can check out in Wikipedia. And then case 3 is return 0.5, because the monkey threw balls in at random, so they're always going to be random pulling out red balls. So he goes through this long explanation of why, if you had like a true probability estimate prior of the background, it would encompass all like 10 to the 24 possibilities of the way the balls could be ordered in the urn, right? The way that you pull them out. Mm-hmm. Like, what are the odds of you pulling out 4 red ones in a row? Well, that's going to be concentrated in this part of your gigantic grid, right?
But like with every other post of his, I feel like there was a point and I learned something, and in this one I wasn't sure what I was supposed to learn. I still don't know what it means for a prior to be a mathematical object, or what he was getting at with this particular block of text.
Yeah, I'm okay calling this one a wash. There's a good conversation in the comments where a lot of people are just like, can you clarify this? You know, I feel like you're ruining the word prior already has a good definition. Why are you throwing that away? Because it's too confusing for this. And I would say check out the comments and just say this one was weird. We don't have to talk about it for that long. So okay. I mean, I'm okay with that. Do you have anything you want to add, Jess?
No.
That's fair.
All right.
So what is the intuitive understanding of a prior? Like, because we can talk about that for a minute.
A prior is what I always thought is the belief you already come in having.
Or even the belief that you have after some updating, but like it's your new prior before you get some new information, right?
Right.
So
every time there's a test, you now have a posterior, which becomes your new prior for any further tests.
Yeah. And a lot of these, I'm sure it's his writing that because that's most of the Bayesian stuff I read, isn't like, you know, the results of like a diabetes or breast cancer test or something. Mm-hmm. Like, what are the odds that I think I have diabetes right now? Like none, very low. Like, then if you tell me, all right, well, the base rate of diabetes is 1 in 50,000 or something. All right, well, I guess those are my odds then. Mm-hmm. Then you give me a test and it comes back positive. I'm like, all right, well, what's the odds of a false positive? Right. Times that by the other factors, like am I in the demographics that typically have diabetes or something. And it's like you update based on those numbers, mm-hmm. but like your prior to start out is just like this kind of fuzzy, I don't know. And so it's in the hypothesis testing chapter of Methods of Rationality where Harry's running through his head thinking about, okay, well, we'll call the odds of any wizard surviving their death, you know, like 1 in a million, and, you know, after attempting a resurrection ritual, 1 in 10,000 or something. But he's just like making these numbers up. Mm-hmm. But that's because he has nothing to work with, right? Mm-hmm. So he's setting high priors, or like, I guess, low numbers, but high, these estimates, just to like have some numbers to envelope, you know, get an estimate on whether or not Voldemort's alive, right? Yeah. So that's the kind of thing you can do, but without information, you're completely spitballing, and that's completely acknowledged in the chapter too. So.
Yeah, but at least it gives you a way to start thinking about the problem.
Right, because if you say, I have no idea, therefore I can't think about it, I can't even approach it, That's useless.
Right. I've heard someone say that anything worth thinking about is worth thinking about with made up numbers.
Mm-hmm.
When you don't have real numbers available.
Yes.
I like it. Perfect. All right, that's the point of this post.
Okay then. So going on to one which I found much more interesting. Lotteries, a waste of hope.
A waste?
A waste of hope.
But I could win.
Eliezer comes down firmly anti-lottery on this, and I am with him, maybe because that's just how I was raised, so I already got the emotional feeling that they're awful. But Eliezer says some lottery advocates have tried to defend lottery ticket buying as a rational purchase of fantasy, paying $1 for a day's worth of pleasant anticipation, imagining yourself a millionaire.
So this is the Powerball lottery thing, right? Not your average, so a dollar scratcher, I think you have like a 1 in 4 chance of winning your money back.
Which still you're exchanging money for
Yeah, for a 100% chance of nothing, but those are way better odds. And I won $300 in a scratcher once, so for
Did you really?
all my lottery investments, I'm ahead. So I'm done buying lottery tickets because I've already won the lottery and then I've come out on top. So.
Yeah. If you have 1 in 4 chance of getting your money back, then basically every time you buy one, you're spending 75 cents.
Yeah.
Okay. Just for the heck of it.
But what's fun is I was making like $9 an hour at a job that sold lottery tickets. I'd buy a couple a night because I was crazy bored, and I needed maybe he just doesn't understand what it's like to be desperately poor and bored. But there's maybe he does, but I'm just staring at him all the time, and I'm like, all right, well, fuck it, and then I won $300. I was like, all right, cool, I'm not buying anymore. That's it, I won.
I mean, I've heard people say lotteries are a tax on people who are bad at math, but I've always understood the math of the lottery, and the few times I was actually really, really tempted to play the lottery, it's not because I suddenly had like some kind of math stupidity come over me. It's because I was desperate. I was like, I don't know what else I can do. At least this is something.
Yeah.
So it's a tax on the desperate, which is again taking advantage of the most vulnerable.
I have been to casinos before and played slot machines. It was kind of it's kind of fun going to the casino. It's a neat environment. There's like good restaurants and bars and like entertainment there. And if you go with friends, it can be kind of fun. So it's
and if
kind
you're
of
gambling,
like,
they bring you free drinks.
Yeah, well, I was kind of I'm not if you're playing slots.
Really?
I don't think so.
I don't play slots, so I'm not sure. But
yeah,
if you're playing cards, they do.
So it kind of like I'm using this money to purchase this experience to like socialize with friends, be in this wacky environment where like they made this indoor representation of like the Taj Mahal or whatever the heck. Still not like, I felt very uncomfortable there too, though. It was something that I would do occasionally and be like, haha, that was a thing. But also casinos, are places where like you see some really desperate people that go there and just get addicted to pulling the slot machine lever.
I've seen those people, and that's weird. They'll come in and they clearly like live on that stool, and there are like regulars. Yeah, if they live in town, they'll come in every day and spend, whatever, a few bucks or something.
Yeah, I forget the name of it, but it's like the pigeon experiment where they have the, if you pull the lever and it regularly gives a pellet, then they'll just pull it when they're hungry. But if they randomize how many pellets they'll get,
and
then they'll just, they get addicted to it.
They also develop weird superstitions. The pigeons too. They'll think like, well, last time I got a pellet, I turned like in 2 left circles or 2 counterclockwise circles. So I'll do that every time.
Right.
And you can train pigeons to do really weird shit by giving them pellets at a controlled thing or at random. They'll develop their own weird things. That's my thought with casinos is like, it's a weird place, like, to go have an expensive time if that's what you feel like doing. I think your odds with cards are typically better than with slots. Well, they definitely are than with slots if you know what you're doing.
You can do penny slots.
You can do penny slots, but I usually just go there thinking,
I would spend like $20.
Yeah, and it's a way too to just go in and like, where else can you smoke indoors and like there's all this, but like
another reason not to go to a casino.
But like I bought some cigars last time I was at a casino that you could smoke at just because I felt like I was breaking the rules. So it was just like this is so eccentric and weird. Yeah. So it's that sort of experience.
Yeah, I enjoy having weird experiences, and I feel like it was worth $20.
Yeah,
but we're not talking about casinos. We're talking about the lottery.
That's right.
Well, that's what I'm having trouble understanding why. Lottery tickets kind of generate that same feeling. I guess it's a very like muted version of that feeling of the pulling the lever.
It's like they said, like the commenters said, or a commenter said anyway, some people are just paying for a fantasy that they enjoy.
Right, and he goes on that in the next post. But yeah, I think Jess, I'm understanding your bringing up casinos is like, because this has none of the fun of a casino. This is none of the experience. You buy it, you go home, you lose, and you do that every day. Yeah, so that is weird. Before we move on, really quick, is there a number where if the lottery was at $1 trillion where you'd buy tickets?
I actually...
There has to be, right?
There is, yes. And I have done it for a few times when the Powerball just went to the point where it was a net positive.
I did
It's
too.
Like,
and
fine.
I bought two, it would have been like 10 years ago. I bought a couple of tickets because it was like $480 million or something. And it was like, it was some ridiculous number. And I was like, all right, whatever the number is that's high enough for me to spend $2. And then I bought them and I didn't know how to check who won, like what the numbers were.
Right.
So I never checked. And so
it probably wasn't you.
It probably wasn't me. I can sleep soundly knowing that I wouldn't have won.
Well, because if there's ever a jackpot winner and no one claims it for a few days, it starts being on the news. They're like, somebody has won $200 billion but hasn't claimed it yet. Who could this mystery person be?
Yeah, it was funny though. Yeah. All right, so back to our actual show.
Yeah, so Eliezer has a problem with this saying that it's buying a fantasy because he says you're occupying your valuable brain with a fantasy whose real probability is nearly zero, which makes the lottery another kind of sink, a sink of emotional energy. It encourages people to invest their dreams, their hopes for a better future, into an infinitesimal probability. If not for the lottery, maybe they would fantasize about going to technical school, or opening their own business, or getting a promotion at work.
For $1 a day.
Things that they might be able to actually do, hopes that would make them want to become stronger. Their dreaming brains might, in the 20th visualization of the pleasant fantasy, notice a way to really do it. Isn't that what dreams and brains are for?
That's good writing.
Yeah. But how can you compare that to the artificial sweetened flavor of limitless wealth? Yeah, and this is the post where he says the human brain can't devalue the emotional force of a pleasant anticipation by a factor of 0.00001, whatever it is. He doesn't actually come out and say it's so low that it should activate less than one neuron in your brain to be equivalent.
Right.
Which I know I mentioned that a few episodes back about thinking about God. And I swear I got that from the lottery post, but he doesn't say it in here. Maybe he says it in a different one, or maybe
the next one.
Maybe a commenter said it. I know I didn't come up with that myself.
Yeah, that sounds really familiar.
I'm going to give you 25% chance that that's an original Eneash that you...
No. It's I heard that somewhere.
Yeah, I thought when you said that, I thought it was from this post too.
Yeah.
So maybe I didn't read the comments though. But yeah, basically it's... all right, so do we have much else to add? Because I've got a good leading question into the next one.
No, go for your question.
I mean, so for $1 a day, because you can't go to technical school for $1 a day, you know, but you can buy a lottery ticket. So what else can I do to give me the same, like if hope makes me a little less miserable every day, what else can I buy with $1 that would give me anything of value?
I mean, anything that's worth $1, really.
Well, I guess, like if I already, you know, okay, well, the next post is called an improved lottery.
You could buy this improved lottery ticket.
Yeah.
I see what you were trying to do. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that layup. Is that the correct sports term? Catch the layup?
I think the layup's supposed to go in the basket.
I know that layup is a two-person thing. Then you got to help each other out. It's something like that, where like one person throws and the other person dunks it or some shit.
Oh, maybe it is. I think you're right.
I don't know sports, man.
Yeah. God, we're such nerds. That said, basketball is one of my favorite sports to watch.
It's the one that's actually got some exciting stuff going on almost all the time.
And you can see the play object, the ball. Like hockey's fun. They're moving a lot, but I often lose sight of the puck.
Right.
That said, speaking of casinos, my favorite thing to watch, and I've mentioned this before, but there's a bar right next. Well, I didn't mention this part. There's a bar right next to my house that we kind of just discovered. And once in a while, they have cards up on the TV. And I love watching high stakes poker. If there was a service that I could, there maybe is, so I shouldn't say anything because I'll probably get it. So I'll point me to it. But if like it was $10 a month that I could have the high stakes poker channel and nothing else, I'd probably have that because I don't want to pay for a cable package just to watch this once in a while. But it's really fun, and I can't find a good website. Just watch it. So.
Really? They don't have it on like YouTube? Or?
I found some YouTubes, but the ones that I could find that were like, I like to just have it on the background for like a few hours. And the only ones I could find like that was some asshole like talking over the the thing. I could leave it on mute like they do in the bars.
It's like the video game reviews. Hey guys.
Yeah. Well,
it's me, Evan, and today I'm going to talk. Oh my God, stop.
It was like he was like doing a podcast talking about these people, but that was my one experience watching a 4-hour video. But anyway, cards is fun to watch if you're me. I don't know why. That's as into sports as I get. Okay.
Well, that's like a cerebral sport.
You're into the sports where you don't actually move your body.
That's right. The less motion, the better.
You move your hands a bit.
Chess, chess is right up there.
Right. You don't even need a body to play chess nowadays.
That's right. There is chess boxing.
What?
I've heard about this.
Yeah, go
Is
to
this like Wizard's chess?
No, go to YouTube, type in chess boxing. They play chess, they get up and hit each other, and they go back to playing chess.
Yeah, 3 minutes of chess and 3 minutes of boxing, because the boxing round is 3 minutes.
It's amazing.
Yeah. And the winner is whoever checkmates the other person or knocks the other person out.
Which is the best.
Wait, can I also do a sports tangent?
Yeah.
Sure.
One of my coworkers is trying to start a league for extreme taser ball,
Extreme taser ball?
which I looked up, and yeah, it's a sport that involves this ridiculously large ball. It looks like a big beach ball or something, and tasers.
Do you tase each other?
You tase each other.
Oh my god.
That sounds like a good time, kind of. I would try it.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared, but I'm also tempted to try it just so I could tell people what sport I play, and they can give me horrified looks.
Don't those things hook into your skin?
What, taser? No, you're thinking whatever, stun guns. Those shoot out little cords that you pull the trigger and electrocutes you. Tasers just have the arc of electricity that you can hit somebody with.
You want to know something fun that I believe I learned from reading rationalist fiction?
What?
It's the other way around. Stun guns are the things you hold in your hand that you zap someone with personally, and the things that you shoot at people are called tasers. Even though you don't like. The stun gun is a personal weapon, right? It's a melee weapon.
I guess
it doesn't shoot out, but it's called a stun gun.
That's hilarious. Okay, I got it backwards because it makes more sense the other way, but I guess history had the other way. That's hilarious. Yeah. And I think that's true because I have a stun gun that I lost the charger for in like 2009, so it was $20, but I want to buy another one because what's fun about them, then we'll finish the stuff.
What's not fun about them, really?
What's fun is they're super loud.
Yeah, that noise is like just frightening.
So even if the person isn't like... What am I saying? The noise itself is a deterrent. It's like, it's crazy crackling loud electricity that is uncomfortably loud from across the house. So you pull this thing out and you don't have to hit them to freak them out. So, yeah.
Like I've never been hit by a stun gun, but I imagine that I'm more scared of the sound than I actually would be by the effect of being hit by it.
You say
like,
that till you're laying down in your own piss, but yeah.
Okay. Oh, really?
It depends how hard and where they get you, but yeah.
Okay.
If you get in the abdomen, it'll flex everything and you'll fall over. So.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, never mind then.
I don't know if the pee yourself rate is at 100%, but it's not at 0%.
All right, what were we talking about?
The new improved lottery.
With no tasers.
So the new improved lottery ticket also only costs $1, but it pays out at random once every 5 years on average at a random time. You don't know exactly when it's going to pay out, just sometime in the next 5 years it pays out.
That adds to the hope factor.
And more importantly, it lets you fantasize about it all the time, as opposed to just these predetermined moments on certain evenings where you buy the ticket one time. So this is not quite Eliezer's exact words. He was more eloquent. But boss comes in, demands something annoying. Instead of getting to work, turn on your phone and you stare, hoping for that call. Because there is an epsilon chance that, at that exact moment, you could be awarded the grand prize. Even if it doesn't happen this minute, there's no need to be disappointed. It could happen the next minute. And so you got that perpetual fantasy of like, I could win right now. Nope. Now. Yeah,
you don't have to tune in at 6 or whenever they draw the balls and check. Yeah, so the hope lasts all day.
At any moment, your phone could buzz. Also says you could go even further. The new improved lottery could even show a constantly fluctuating probability distribution of the likelihood to win. So it's not always the same likelihood at every second. And they could have the likelihood of particular numbers being higher at certain times. So think of how much fun that would be. Right this minute, the chance to win occurring is nearly 10 times higher than usual. And look, the number 42 that I selected for the Mega Ball has nearly twice the usual chance of winning. You could feed it to display on people's cell phones so they could just flip open the cell phone and see their chance of winning, and they could stay glued to that screen all day. They would never need to dream about anything else. Which really puts into perspective kind of the whole they're selling a dream to people, right?
Yeah, it's a very poignant way to rebuttal that point.
Yeah, like this is a fucked up horror world where no one's dreaming about anything else in their lives except this tiny lottery chance. I also, when I reread this, I kind of got the feeling that, holy shit, this is a lot like writing. Because when you write short stories, at least, you write a short story, and then you send it off to a paying market, and then you wait. You check your email every day. Maybe you check it 2 or 3 times a day because you never know when that email is going to come in saying, hey, guess what? Your story wasn't quite right for us. And, there's that small chance that it'll say, your story is great. We would like to publish it and let all our readers see how awesome of a writer you are. And if that doesn't work, then you take it and you go to the next magazine and maybe they will give you that. So a lot of writers' life is that you're paying for a lottery ticket by writing a story. So with, dozens of hours of labor. And then for months and months, you can live in that, fantasy and eventually get rejected. But still, months of fantasy time.
But do you have fun writing?
I do have fun writing.
So there's some value to that too.
Yeah, there is.
Unlike the casino, going to the gas station to buy a lottery ticket isn't like a fun experience, like for a lot of people, right?
Right.
So, at least there's something else that you're getting out of it.
And I also think this is kind of like the effect that makes Twitter as popular as it is. People could reply to you at any point or retweet your thing at any point. You never know when something might go viral. It just, like this random payout thing is pretty huge.
And yeah, we are seeing it take off. And this was before Twitter.
It's fairly ubiquitous too. A lot of mobile games explicitly use that kind of psychology.
And this post came out before Twitter, and yet that function's built into the platform.
Mm-hmm. And I realized that kind of a lot of life is like this. Like there's a lot of times where you don't know if what you're doing is going to result in what you want to happen, but you go and you do it anyway, and you hope for the best.
I mean, there's no way we're going to get rid of that.
Yeah.
But living your life on those hopes is...
What if you have UBI and then you are writing and you're just releasing your works online for free because you have that income?
Well, I mean, like, you send a text message to somebody like, do you want to go on a date? The waiting for a reply, that minute of hope. Like, you're not going to get rid of every minute of, like, that anticipating a hopeful response to your efforts.
I don't think I would want to get rid of anticipating a hopeful response to your efforts. It's just I think the thing that is bad about lotteries is that it's basically zero. Your chances of winning it is essentially zero.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't making that point that I think it's a bad thing. I was just saying that level, that we could do away with the bad parts, the bad ways to feed that thing, and there'll still be real parts of that left in your life, right?
Oh, I see. Yeah.
But there's a lot of life like that where you're like, I don't know if the harvest is going to be good or bad this year, but I'm going to go ahead and plant my crops anyway and hope for the best. And like a lot of life is just doing what you can and hoping things work out. And I kind of get the impression we're almost like built for this sort of world where you put in effort and you don't have a guaranteed return and got to hope for it instead.
Yeah,
we have inner pigeons.
There's we do for sure, but I think that like something like planting your crops has a higher probability of getting some kind of return out of it than the essentially zero chance you have from the lottery. Same thing with
I absolutely
asking
agree.
someone on a date online, maybe that's like a 50-50 chance that they'll say yes.
No,
and even sending a story in is like, you don't literally have like a basically zero chance of getting published.
Right, yeah. No, I mean, the lottery is definitely the extreme stimulus, the
super stimulus.
The super stimulus version of, taking things that we're naturally wired for and just going fucking wild with it to take advantage of the human wiring. But,
and particularly like in the case of casinos or mobile games, to take advantage of people who have addictive personalities.
Well, I think all of us have addictive personalities.
Yeah, but some people have it much worse than others.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, many of us would get bored sitting at the slot machine, pulling it, for 4 hours a day after work every day. Yeah. And most of us, that sounds like hell. And yet they've got, there's a number of factors, but probably one of them is they've got nothing better to do. So they sit there and just sit there, keep hoping,
Yeah, it tends to target like vulnerable populations.
Yeah.
I tend to think this is one of the reasons that video games are popular, because they have a guaranteed reward. If you put in the effort, you get the thing. And there's none of this like, oh, maybe I'll put in a ton of effort and never get anything out of it. And I mean, that's less the case nowadays with the games that have the random reward thing put in. But for a lot of games before the more recent spate of what do they call them, casino games even?
There's like a loot, what's the word for it? Loot lottery?
Yeah. Loot lottery.
Gachapon?
Yeah. It's
like Destiny. Like,
yes.
So you'd have to coordinate like a 90-minute raid with, 6 or 10 people to get a 2% job rate for the cool piece of loot.
Yeah,
and
tons
those
of games
fucking
are like
suck.
that now. Yeah. But there was a time where like if you go out and you grind mobs for X hours, you get Y experience, which will eventually lead to you being better.
Many games are still like that.
Yeah.
And what makes them attractive is that like video games work that way and life doesn't.
Yes.
Like, you can go out and work hard all day and do whatever you can.
And then your kid gets malaria and dies anyway.
Right. So, yeah. The controllable aspect of that is, nice as well. And save files. When are we going to get those for real life?
Yeah. Eliezer ends with saying, if you believe that the lottery is a service, it is clearly an enormously overpriced service, charged to the poorest members of society, and it is your solemn duty as a citizen to demand the new improved lottery instead.
What I love is that, like, that's the closest he gets to saying, like, fuck you to the commenter who put that out there. It's like, all right, if you believe that, here's the logical extension of your belief, and now you're clearly an asshole.
Here's the horrorscape you want.
That's right.